Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I am Adrian Fort.
And I'm Dalton Gentry.
And we are here for some, what would you call this?
You got anything this week for it? Or are you just going to draw it out for Adrian Reads Harry Potter? You could just say Adrian Reads Harry Potter. It's good for you.
I could.
You could
say that.
You could.
I could be responsible and say that, but I'm not going to.
Anyway, we have Adrian Reads Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, chapters 23 and 24 this week. Some stuff going on here. I think we can talk about some things. I think I feel a little bit better about it this week.
Okay.
Thoughts?
It's not good.
Okay. Well, you say that every week. So let's talk about these. Chapters 23, we have Malfoy Manor. The kids are taken captive and taken captive to Malfoy Manor as Harry's face is disguised under a jinx. I am really excited that I cannot talk at all.
I think it's your poof that's refocusing the camera.
You think so?
I think so. Every time it jiggles is when this...
Would you look at that? Anyway, Bellatrix tortures Hermione, and Dobby turns out to be the one to save the day, but he ends up taking a knife to the chest.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
Yeah.
Well, move forward to chapter 24. The Wand Maker. Harry buries Dobby Muggle style. He's going to do it on his own, no magic, and confronts Griphook and Mr. Ollivander. Harry needs Griphook to help him break into Gringotts, and we learn that the Elder Wand does indeed exist from Ollivander, and we're left with a vision of Voldemort robbing Dumbledore's tomb and stealing the Elder Wand.
Yeah.
Oh no, woe is me. It's the end. Adrian, how do you feel this week?
I would like to start this discussion off by quoting the great writer J.K. Rowling. This from page 446. Harry clutched at his excruciatingly painful face.
What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that? It's not bad.
It's
not good.
His excruciatingly painful face implies that not is his face in pain, but that his face itself is the cause of pain.
You ever just
it is a painful face.
You ever just woke up and looked in the mirror and you're just like, oh God, why?
No.
Oh.
No, I have not.
Well, I'm glad you had that moment. Thank you, Clark Kent, for taking your glasses off. I hope you feel better about yourself.
You're very welcome.
Anyway, I think we do have some stuff we could discuss here, and I think the big thing that kind of bridges these two chapters is the idea of magic versus non-magic. There's a lot of stuff going on here where Harry says, no, I don't want to use magic to bury Dobby. I want to take him out. I want to dig the grave. I want to do this myself. I realize I'm probably shaking the camera now, so I'm not going to touch the desk anymore. But there's a lot that is to be said about that. It's the process of actually physically doing something. It's not taking the easy road. This is Harry's grieving moment. And he's grieving for a creature that is considered to be less than human. We talk about that quite a bit. It is considered to be a subservient creature. This is honestly a slave race. They've been enslaved by the wizarding world. And Harry is saying, I have so much respect for this character, for this creature. I'm not going to use magic to bury him. I want to feel this burial myself. I want to do this. I think there's a lot to be said there. I think that's well done.
You can go ahead and believe that, but what I'm going to do is jump a little bit prior to the death itself,
okay,
to the part where Body is being cursed at by Bellatrix. And I want you to read a quote from the text, which is Bellatrix cursing at Body, and it is this line right here.
I'll just read. Oh,
no,
Bellatrix.
Hold on.
Oh.
I want you to say the part again about being less than human. What are we talking about when we're talking about house elves?
House elves are considered to be inferior to people, to wizards,
and because of this,
they enslave them and use them as servants.
And what is the nasty little thing that we have dissected on this channel and on this series time and time again about what it is that house elves are being drawn out as?
There's a lot of race issues going on.
A lot of race issues. One race in particular, is there not?
There is. And
what are we talking about?
This actually has a lot of parallels to slavery in the American colonies for African Americans.
Yes. So when the obvious line being drawn by the writer is black people, is house elves as a translation of blackness into the series, as a translation of all of those things through which black culture suffered, black people suffered, and very, very, very clearly. Am I wrong about that? Am I exaggerating?
No, you're not. You're not, unfortunately.
So Bellatrix, what is her name?
Bellatrix.
Bellatrix is about to kill
Dobby.
And she's angry. And she throws this little line, this little gem. What does that say?
Excuse me, let me put my badge on here.
That's
so
my
I
badge.
feel better. I took mine home. It's on my shelf now. It's
shelf.
one of the best gifts I've ever received. Bellatrix.
Now hold on. We just went through all of that to get this to a point that you then ruined by stalling because you were uncomfortable.
I would like to make as much time as I can here.
Yeah. You're very uncomfortable by this, aren't you?
Oh, yes, I am. I've seen the quote because as soon as you have it highlighted for me, I'm like, oh, nope, I don't want to read this.
Go ahead and read it.
Let me, Bellatrix to Dobby. You dirty little monkey.
I'll be God damned. I'll be God damned. I understand that Bellatrix is a bad guy. I understand that this is a point in the narrative where we are supposed to like Body and adopt Body as a hero. Not just a try-hard, which is something that time and again in the series, Body has been sort of thrust out there as, right?
Okay.
Well-intending, but kind of a screw-up.
Fair.
I don't care. I don't care that this is a time where we're supposed to look at the bad guy as a bad guy and look at Body as sympathetic. If your entire platform is such that these words, these terms, and these things are not to be used, they're not to be used by bad guys either. Because what that's doing is that is further enforcing the term, further empowering the term. So, imagine, is there any more heinous, perhaps a comparison, perhaps an insult to throw out there in a racist way than the N-word? Is there any, than monkey, than to say you're a monkey? Worse than that, dirty monkey. You dirty little monkey.
It's pretty rough.
Would there be any more racist a term to throw out there?
Not necessarily, no.
Just the N-word. That's the only thing that's...
We aren't going to sling that, obviously, in this text,
Right.
So this would be the next worst option.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Just wow.
Wow.
Right?
Well, there went every talking point that I had this week. I'm glad we could just finish this up. So next week, Adrian reads Harry Potter, 2 more chapters.
Also, this is for my notes for 23. Read that out loud.
Did Diddledor have the special wand that would be interesting? Diddledor the Butcher.
Yeah. So I called that before we learned that Diddledor actually had the wand.
Okay.
Who did he kill to get it?
Who do you think he killed? Because it's kind of alluded to.
Yeah, it's the...
Grindelwald.
Grindelwald.
Yeah. Okay.
So Diddledor the Butcher.
Okay. I believe at one point Ollivander refers to it as the Death Stick. I don't know why we couldn't just keep that. It's very Bruce Campbell, Death Stick.
Yeah.
I prefer that over Elder Wand,
Yeah.
so I'm a little upset by that, but whatever. It's fine.
I have a shotgun.
It's my boomstick. And if you get that reference, you're in the right place for this today. So, let me back up now that we've tackled that. And moved on from that, and let's talk a little bit about the idea of magic versus non-magic, and what we see here is really the first gruesome death that we get. All the deaths that we see, they've been tragic. Cedric Diggory was tragic. Everything's been tragic, but it's always been a magical death, and that takes a little bit away from it. This here, we get a man a creature, excuse me, it's not a man, who was stabbed to death. Took a knife to the chest. That's a bloody mess. You ever been around a stabbing?
A little bit.
people bleed a lot more than you think they're going to.
Depends on where you're stabbed.
That's fair.
Chest, certainly.
Chest, certainly, absolutely.
Going to be a lot of blood.
There's going to be a lot of blood. Even from a very tiny little creature, it's going to be a lot of blood. That's gruesome, man. That's pretty gory for a children's text to add this in here. And that's really the first time that we're getting this really physical, gruesome death. And during that scene, who else dies during that scene?
Did I miss something?
Wormtail.
Oh, right.
And how does Wormtail die?
How did Wormtail die?
He kills himself. The silver hand strangles him. His own hand strangles himself. Granted, it's the magical hand that's given to him by Voldemort, but no, the hand turns on him and strangles him.
Yeah.
So we see back-to-back, basically a suicide, followed up by a straight-up bloody murder.
Homicide.
A homicide. Suicide, homicide.
Patricide.
Okay. I'm just
Matricide.
saying. I try to play, both fields here. I like Harry Potter. Harry Potter was my childhood. This is nostalgic for me. But that's straight up gruesome for a children's text.
Is that good or is that bad?
Is it good or... I think it could be good if properly executed, but it's just there. It's there for gore. It's there for Hollywood. It serves no purpose.
So you are now, too, of the opinion that this is just J.K. Rowling writing for the movies.
At this point, it seems that way. I think it's something you could definitely address, and I think it is done well, again, with the idea of, giving Dobby a traditional burial, a hands-on burial. It is addressed well in that way. However, we see a murder, and we see a suicide, and there is no explanation towards on the children's end of this beyond, well, it happened.
Yeah.
And it's okay because it was a bad guy, and we buried the good guy, and it's fine.
Yeah.
So, little dark this week.
Dark and irresponsible, perhaps. I'm all for there being... So, Grimm's fairy tales. I'm all for there being gore, death, all of these things in kids' literature, because, how are they going to learn about it, right? I remember those being some of my favorite parts of these things when I was a child, right? I enjoyed the macabre.
Okay.
We have 6 books and 3/4 of a seventh with none of it.
None.
And then all of a sudden we're slapped in the face with it.
Yes, we are.
That might be the irresponsible bit.
That's fair. That's very fair. And we did address the fact there are going to be a lot of character deaths in this. We knew it was coming. But you didn't necessarily know that when you were reading it for the first time, especially if you picked this up as a very young reader. It's something you would not be expecting, and I don't think is ever really put to rest. Because as soon as they bury Dobby, well, it's time to get back to work.
Is it, though?
I think yes.
Is it?
As soon as he buries Dobby, he's immediately back in the house questioning Griphook.
It might be time to get to work, but we're 500 pages into this thing, and we've got 200 pages left, and there is absolutely zero sense of urgency from this text.
Fair. And again, we're not going, well, I guess technically we're going Horcrux hunting, but now we're starting a new narrative, going into Gringotts, going into the Strange Vault. It's a completely new narrative that's just being thrown out here towards the end of this book, where we should be seeing in this, the Horcruxes at this point we should have been destroying books ago. We're just now going to go searching for one, more than halfway through the book.
Yeah.
It's... There's a lot going on here right at the end. I feel like...
We better get started soon.
It's got to get started soon. And honestly, I'm thinking maybe she had a couple other books planned, and the publisher's like, well...
No.
You had enough.
No.
You had enough, J.K.
They would be publishing Harry Potter books to this day.
Well,
if J.K. Rowling had the itch.
Let's go the other side then. Maybe they wanted more books, and she's just like, no, I'm going to fit it all in.
No, I think what it is she got into the habit of writing how she wrote.
Okay.
And just never... It's very easy. It's very easy. I mean, anything. It's very easy with anything to fall into that. Do you have any hobbies besides reading?
Here and there, nothing like too extraordinary though.
Like what?
Things I've always wanted to get into. I've always wanted to try woodworking.
No, I mean things that you actually do though.
Oh, things that I actually do? Oh God, I'm gonna have it like a full-on breakdown. Like, do you do anything? No. No.
But with any so work. When you go to work,
yes,
it's very easy to flip over that second pair of eyelids.
Okay.
To where you're just glazed in, you're getting through
putting
the
in the
day.
8.
Yeah, you're putting in the 8. You're not going in with objectives or missions or goals. You're just going in to go in, and we're going to time in. 8 hours from now, we're going to time out, and you fall into that. That feels what this is, because this is every Harry Potter book that we've read.
Okay.
Is it not? I mean, we don't have Hogwarts. That's the only difference.
Fair. Very fair.
Got the Christmas break. We've got returning to the Weasels. We've got all of these things.
Okay. Okay. I can't really disagree with you in that aspect.
We've got a row with Ron.
Hermione's off on her own, doing her own thing.
Yeah.
Harry's going to save the day again.
It's every Harry Potter book that was ever written.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the text and where we're going from here. So at this point, we have established that not only does the Elder Wand... Excuse me.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I think so. I might have had just a mild heart attack there. Excuse me.
Well, try a little harder next time.
It'll be okay. Not only does the Elder Wand exist, but Dumbledore was in possession of it. He received it from Grindelwald, assumingly after he killed Grindelwald.
Yeah.
Which, is a big famous thing. He was the one who conquered the Dark Wizard of the Day. But now Voldemort has it. So where are we going from here? This was the big goal for Voldemort. He was going to be the man in possession of this Elder Wand so he could be unstoppable. At this point, how do you fix this?
Well, I think that it is very much misleading, actually. That would be the tendency with something such as a fairy tale, right? Even if it is a fairy tale about something that actually exists. So the mythos has risen around this thing, right? That it makes your magic extra chutzpah, baby, right?
Okay.
That's the myth, right? That's the mythos. But everyone who's had it has died. Fair. So I think that there's going to be something that it is not about the wand itself, it's about the man who wields it.
Okay.
It's not the size of the wand, it's the motion of the magic, right?
Okay, I'll give you that.
I think there's going to be something to be done with that. The thing that gets me about this entire scenario is that Diddledore had the wand, so he killed someone. Where's Diddledore's Horcrux?
Well, you don't necessarily create a Horcrux every time you kill someone.
Right. But why would one create a Horcrux?
To live forever.
Or to live again.
Okay.
Right? Because each one just grants you until that Horcrux dies, right? So if you're the big good guy, and you know the big bad guy's still running around, mightn't you decide to create a Horcrux? Because in the event that Snape kills you, especially when you're the guy who's gambling on everyone.
Okay. If
you're the guy who's gambling on everyone and you've got Snape living next door to you who could murder you at any moment, mightn't it be a good idea for the rest of wizardom to have a Horcrux there? To have a Horcrux on the ready?
Well, I think there's more to it. And again, we're falling back to a baseline a good guy, bad guy tropes. Creating a Horcrux does not just automatically happen after you kill someone.
Right.
The murder is a necessary ingredient to it. It also involves splitting the soul, which for some reason in the wizarding world is considered the supreme evil, the bad of all bad. So a good, true character like Dumbledore would never consider splitting his own soul in order to live forever, even if it is for the greater good.
Right, but that's bad writing.
Well,
that's bad writing. So even Diddledore's God, right? If we're breaking things down in that way. Where did Jesus go for 3 days?
Took a nap.
Yeah, but he went to hell. Jesus went to hell for 3 days. Why is that? Well, Jesus can't go to hell. He's the ultimate good. Well, but it's got to be a blood sacrifice. And the good guy has to inhabit that bit of bad in order to make things right. Jesus was tempted by the devil in the desert, right? Okay. Tempted. Which means he had to fight it off. Which meant that it wasn't be gone.
At one point he's sitting there and he's like, well, that's not a bad idea, right. Devil. Yeah. I could get behind it.
In the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus wonders if this is his real fate, if he has to go through with this. I think that was in the Garden of Gethsemane.
You're way, way beyond my knowledge of the Bible.
when hung upon the cross, Jesus asks God, "Why did you forsake me?"
Okay.
So all of these very, very bad things that the big good guy does, right? If you were religious and you had a vision of God coming down to you and saying, "Hey, I'm going to need you to go ahead and off yourself," would it or would it not be a bad guy thing to question? Are you sure I need to do that?
About that, God?
Right? Like,
Fair,
what
fair.
was the, now I'm going to forget the names for some reason, but he was told to gut his kid in the Bible, and he said, "Yeah, all right." Who was that?
His firstborn son?
Yes.
It's not Cain and Abel.
Isaac. Yeah. And he was going to go ahead and do it.
Well, God said so I might as well give it a shot.
So those are things you're supposed to do. And Jesus reneged upon, or did not completely renege upon them, but at least questioned things.
Okay.
And he was one of the triune, right? So
you were saying that Dumbledore should have questioned this.
he should
tempted.
have at least been tempted to make a Horcrux.
But even at that aspect, if he was tempted and he chose not to, that would again heighten the greater good that is Dumbledore. We're never left with any notion of whether he was or was not tempted.
But would it, if you are thinking practically?
Is there more to that?
Well, if okay, so Diddledore was the big good guy,
Okay.
right? Diddledore was the most powerful, the supreme leader.
If you're asking, would there be more worth if there was the idea of temptation? Yes, there would be more worth.
Well, would there, if Diddledore was killed in his office by Snape and all of it? Like, I don't even know how Horcruxes work. I don't understand if Prime Body 1 dies, does the Horcrux all of a sudden embody the individual? But anyway, all of a sudden, somewhere in China, Diddledore is reborn. Mightn't all of wizardom and of the world stand a better chance against?
It's very fair. But by that argument, though, in the wizarding world, it would behoove you to, well, if you're going to kill somebody, you might as well split your soul.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, so so maybe not everyone, maybe not all the time, but when you're talking about someone as powerful as Diddledore, whom the entire wizarding world, and inasmuch the entire world, seems to be dependent upon, in the case of someone like Moldavort coming around, you need that backup.
Okay.
Did Grindelwald have what are they called? Horcruxes?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay.
And again, the idea of the Horcrux, it's considered the supreme evil, the darkest of dark magic is to do this. So it's again alluding to it's so bad that even Grindelwald, the dark wizard of the day, would not have done this.
Which, if you're Diddledore and you've got to kill Grindelwald anyway, mightn't you go ahead? Mightn't you go ahead? Hazard the chance.
It's fair. It's not a bad argument. It really isn't. I'm still stuck on the Bible references for some reason. I feel like we should rewrite the Bible at this point and just...
Well, this is actually a break with the Bible.
Okay.
One of the arguments that Christopher Hitchens often levied against Christianity and the Bible and religion in general is the fact that he said, he was a father. He had 3 children. His main goal as a father was to give them their tools and get out of the way.
Okay.
What religion does is God says, I'll give you your tools, but I'm never leaving, baby.
Keep me around.
I will be here, and I will put you in the ground. And Christopher Hitchens says, if I do anything in this life, my children will bury me.
Okay.
It will not be the other way around. And this is a break from traditional religious texts in that way. Diddledore dies, and you've got the father figure moving out of the way.
Okay. I think we got some good stuff to work on there. Anything else you'd really like to say about this week's reading of Harry Potter? Anything we didn't touch on already?
No, I don't believe so. I think that's all that I've really got.
Okay. So we will be back next week with 2 more chapters of Adrian Reed's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. We'll be moving forward with chapters 25 and 26. That will be Shell Cottage and Gringotts. So obviously we're going to make it to Gringotts. Or at least we're going to have a mention of Gringotts in the book. That's what the chapter's called.
Spoilers.
Spoiler alert. So if you like this kind of thing, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and give this video a like as well as we finish up this series of Adrian Reads Harry Potter. And if you'd like to help us create more great content like this here on Strip Cover Lit, there's a link as always to our Patreon to be found in the description below.